Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Beja in Portugal. The Beja district is located in, as you can see, southern Portugal. You can see the Mediterranean meeting the Atlantic Ocean down here by the Algarve. This is in a region known as the Alentejo, which is basically the area between Lisbon, you can see up there, and the Algarve coast here, the center. Beja is called the breadbasket of Portugal because a majority of it, pretty much all this over here, is pretty much just farmland with some mining industries, but pretty much all beautiful, flat, rolling farmland. It's quite beautiful. We'll take a look at it on Google Earth. It does get a lot more rocky and hilly over here to the west, and definitely along the beautiful, rugged Atlantic coastline as well. But for the most part, all there really is to say about the geography of Beja is that it's farmland. Almost entirely farmland. The capital, of course, being Beja, which is located on a hill. And that segs right into history to explain why that is. Because people have been living here for a very long time. There's even evidence of Neanderthals living here, proto-humans. But the first major people groups that would have inhabited this region were the Celts. And the Celts really loved to build their hill forts, so this area was perfect for a big hill fort settlement. And that makes Beja one of the oldest cities in Portugal. Eventually, the Romans would come into play in this region. In the year 48 BCE, Julius Caesar himself would rename the city Pax Julia, obviously after himself. It was later renamed to Pax Augusta. You can guess who was responsible for that if you know your Roman history, your Roman imperial history. The Visigoths would invade this area in the 300s, of course CE at this point, as they would for a lot of areas here in what used to be the Roman Empire. And they would shorten the name from Pax Augusta to just Paxa. And in the 700s, probably around 711, the official date of the Moorish invasion, the Moors invaded. Now, who are the Moors? If you haven't seen any other videos on Spain or Portugal that I have, the Moors was what the original inhabitants of here, primarily the Christian inhabitants, called these people, who were North African Muslims who invaded. And this would have been part of Al-Andalus, which I'll link my Andalusia video up there so you can learn more about that time of history in the Iberian Peninsula. An incredible culture, beautiful architecture. But you wouldn't see like Cordoba or Granada, anything like that here. This was the countryside. There would be little towns here and there. Paxa, like none of those sounds are in Arabic, so they called it Beja. You can see where we're getting here, right? The Christians who once lived here were pushed way to the north, and they would begin the Reconquista, the reconquering, which was the world's longest war to date. Fingers crossed that it's never that long again. Many hundreds of years of them retaking the Iberian Peninsula. There's believed to have been a battle near here-ish, the Battle of Urique. Not sure how to pronounce that, but you can see the town there. They believe it's around here, but apparently they don't know. But that battle was fought in 1139, and it was a Portuguese victory. but the Portuguese wouldn't fully reconquer this area until the 1230s. The official date's 1234, but when I was reading the histories of the other towns, they said like 1236 and things like that. So let's just say the 1230s. And of course, Beja in Portuguese would become Beja. And I point this out mainly because I think it's interesting how we went from Augustus Caesar naming a town after himself to Beja. But I mention this because tomorrow's video is going to be about a town of the same name in North Africa, but how they reached that name is completely different from how this town reached its name, and they're both called Beja, both pronounced exactly the same. So we'll go over that etymology tomorrow. It's pretty interesting. Be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. It's like this area, tomorrow's area in Tunisia, and then after that we're going to Algeria. They'll have extremely similar histories because they've got the Romans, the Visigoths, the Moors. Oh, I forgot to mention, during the Moorish time, the Almoravids would take over, and then they would be conquered by the Almohads. While the Reconquista is going on, other powers from North Africa coming and conquering the area, leaving their mark on the culture and history here. The one thing that really shaped this district, though, was the reign of King Denis. He was nicknamed the Farmer King, which is really quaint, because he loved farms and he loved planting forests. And he is best known in this area for not just rebuilding the main fortress here in Beja to become a beautiful medieval castle, which we'll look at on Google Earth later, but he redistributed the land so that it would be mostly farmland like it is today, leaving an indelible stamp on this area forever, apparently, because that's what it still is today. I found other little bits here and there of history. Napoleonic Wars, the people here mostly resisted the French. Little things like that, but nothing to really like remark upon. These are people living very simple farming lives. And I'll show you a bit of evidence of that in Google Earth. Some really nice pictures. We're going to go look at some Roman ruins and some beautiful landscapes, and of course the coast. Why don't we go over to the tablet now? I think we should. Let's go. Okay, I just remembered something when I was switching out to the tablet, because I always forget something. There's a town in this area called Cuba, as you can see there. And this town, I meant to point it out on the map, I completely forgot. This town, are we sideways? This town was home to an explorer who sailed with Columbus. And once they found that island, Columbus let that sailor name the island, and he named it after his hometown of Cuba. So this is where Cuba in the Caribbean, that's where its name comes from. Isn't that something? That is so cool. But anyway, let's go to the rest of the district. Some spoilers there for tomorrow if you saw on the search. This is, oh darn, it's not going to show on Google Earth. It's just going to show the area. Well, let's look at where we are in the world regardless. This is already getting chaotic. So here is Portugal, located on the Iberian Peninsula along with Spain and technically Andorra, I suppose. We are in Western Europe. And you can see the African coast just down here, which makes sense how they had North African invaders in the 700s. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Iberian Peninsula. I guess we'll start by looking at Beja then. And you can't visit Beja without looking at Beja Castle. And, oh, actually Beja's in 3D on Google Earth, once it loads properly. You can see the big castle right here. Pretty cool. And it's wonderfully medieval. Look at this. It's like if you asked a child to draw a castle, they would draw this, wouldn't they? You can see the rest of the beautiful town from the tower up here, all whitewashed, with the like orange tile roofs, of course. Looks like a grave here for a knight. It's so pretty. It's a perfect little castle, isn't it? Right in town. Beautiful views all around, and you can see what I mean by it's just farmland. Not very hilly at all in this part of Portugal. Hello. Picture. Okay, no. Okay, it said no more pictures. There we go, but it decided no more pictures there. That's okay. Let's see, there's also a beautiful museum in this town. Let's see if I can remember where it is. I believe it's down here somewhere. Let me reorient myself. Hello. Oh, it's literally right in front of me. I just had to look a little harder. Dedicated to Queen Eleanor, or Leonor in this case. But this is an old convent. So we can see how life once was. There she is, Queen Eleanor. How life once was here in this convent, along with some artifacts from the ancient times. Beautiful examples of some Moorish architecture here with beautiful arches and beautiful tile designs, which gets incorporated into that like Portuguese, Spanish flavor to create the architecture here. You can see some azulejos tile right there. I think there's some other pictures around. We'll see if that beautiful blue and white tile, but isn't this pretty? Some old Roman columns there. That's so pretty. What a beautiful convent. Yeah, some more old architecture there. There we go. Azulejo. This really pretty art. You can see it's all squares, right? All little squares that they put together with, drawing the picture in little pieces. Really beautiful. And that's neat. See the cross in there. And some art as well. But the big event in town is Beja, which is this big cattle ranching event. So we got some cows there, some sweet sheepies, a big Ferdinand bull. Look at this, that's a perfect bull. A beautiful goat. A little Baba black sheep. This sheep is so cute. This is, when I think of like a sheep, this is what I think of, like the white with the black face and the black feet. There's a mechanical one, my goodness. Horseback riding, some cowboy stuff by the looks of it, or maybe just some equestrian, actually, by the way they're dressed. I don't think it's a rodeo. I think they're doing equestrian events. A beautiful rooster, and everyone's gathered for the big show. Oh, they're rounding up all the sheepies here. Make sure you can see well. There we go. Big race car. Yeah, that's the big to-do in town, apparently. If we go outside of town, and hopefully Google will cooperate with me, we're going to see some beautiful Roman ruins, but only if Google Earth wants to cooperate. There's one right here. I think this is my favorite one, actually. Yeah, this is my favorite slideshow because, look, this was once someone's home. Look at that mosaic in the ground still. Look at all the mosaic in the ground still. All overgrown. Isn't that incredible? This was just someone's regular house. Isn't that something? Look at. It's so haunting, isn't it? This was just a regular neighborhood like the ones you and I live in now. And this is what it looks like now. 2,000 years later. Really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? That maybe your home will look like this in 2,000 years. Who knows why or how. But it's something to think about. Look at all the overgrown grass over this beautiful mosaic flooring. That's incredible, right? There's some ruins on this side of town that are a little more complete. Oops. A lot more intact. You can see there. Still got some walls up. But yeah, once a flourishing Roman town. Once upon a time, until the Visigoths came and destroyed it and took it over and made it theirs. Some cactus. Look at this mosaic. Can you see this down here? I love that. That's really pretty. Big archways. And I have no idea how to pronounce that. My Portuguese is horrendous. Growing up in a place where Spanish is spoken, Mexican Spanish is spoken, Portuguese just sounds like Martian, basically. It looks like it's pronounced one way, but it's absolutely not. Alright, what else should we see? Let's look at the coastline. Here we go. This is the slideshow. Look at these big cliffs. It almost looks like Ireland if you squint, I guess. Maybe more like Scotland, but just big rocky cliffs here along the Atlantic and big beautiful beaches. Look at that, waves coming in. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, is that like a natural rock bridge there? Look at that. That's really cool. Old lighthouse there. Yeah, it kind of looks like Ireland if you squint and imagine more green, doesn't it? That's a pretty coastline. Big waves crashing. I bet that water feels good. I mean, the Atlantic's pretty cold, but I think this would be cold in a refreshing way. Look at this cool statue. I wish I could find a picture of it from the front. The horizon there. Little church, a little chapel probably. That's really nice. Alright, I can also show you there's a nature reserve over here as well. The Guadiana Valley near the Guadiana River. Or I guess the Guadiana going through it. It's the river valley. There it goes. Yeah, I didn't mention the rivers. I probably should have. Look at this walled city. That is so classic, isn't it? With the castle up there. That's gorgeous. Big castle tower. All medieval looking. There's a Rapunzel Tower, which obviously is not a Rapunzel Tower, it's a watchtower, but that's what it looks like to me. It's a pretty, very white church. Looks like a cake. Looks like you could eat it. But yeah, lovely area there. And then there's one more nature reserve. If I can make it pop up. Is it over here? There's a huge mine right here. You see it? Working hard there. Digging, digging, digging. Wonder what they're mining there. What's over here? Oh, it's a lake. Agua. Lots of dams here as well. I've had a fun time poking around this area. Let me see, what's this? We're just having fun now. It's a pretty little church there. Another little cake church. It looks delicious. Oh, maybe that was the one I was looking for, and the other one I was thinking of is up here, maybe? Oh well. It wasn't as good as that slideshow. It's alright. I do highly encourage you to explore this area on your own on Google Earth, because I found some other Rapunzel towers. Lots of beautiful nature. All the little slideshows around the lakes are really nice. But I think I'm going to end it there, to be honest. It's really hard when I can't see the boundaries. I'm getting lost in Portugal. Probably the best place to get lost. Let's find a little town to look at to end this video. Let me reorient myself. Where is everything? There's Evora. That's how you know you're too far north. Beja. Alright. Let's look at this town? Vidigera, they have another church. It's beautiful. It's probably where we just were. Yeah, look at this. Incredible. Old watchtower. Clock tower. That's an old church. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing, as this is an ongoing series on my channel. And like I said, we are going over to Tunisia, to another place called Beja. So if you're already subscribed and tomorrow you see a video pop up that looks similar, same name, I promise you it's not. It's two places in the world with the exact same name, slightly different spelling with an accent in Tunisia, because it's the French pronunciation instead of the Portuguese. But don't be fooled. It is a different video, and it's going to be a good one. I'm going to show you a very beautiful UNESCO World Heritage Site in the form of gorgeous Roman ruins, putting these ones you saw today to shame as we explore Duga. I'm also going to show you, believe this, because I didn't when I first read it, the only minaret in the world with a clock face on it. What? You'll see what I mean. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. If you've learned something cool in this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you learned down in the comments. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good